Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you. It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeVar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ready to do this thing on a glorious Monday afternoon in the Crescent City? Are you kidding me? 73 degrees. And all week long, 60s and 70s. Drew Brees is right. It is New Orleans. It's also March, heading towards April in the Crescent City. Things are starting to crank up, huh? 2 weeks from Thursday, French Quarter Fest. 3 weeks from Thursday, Zurich Classic. 4 weeks from this Thursday, what are we, 31 days out from Jazz Fest? 31 days till weekend number 1 of Jazz Fest. So what would that be, 38 days till weekend number 2 of Jazz Fest? The party never stops. Thank you, Taylor Swift. Thank you, Bayou Classic. Thank you, Sugar Bowl. Thank you, Super Bowl. Thank you, Mardi Gras. Up next, French Quarter Fest, Zurich Classic, Jazz Fest, Bayou Boogaloo, Greek Fest. Jeez, we just keep on rocking and rolling. It is a gorgeous Monday afternoon. It might be a drop the coals tonight, throw down a steak, grill some ribs, some chicken, some burgers, some dogs, boil some crawfish, fry some fish. The weather's outstanding. Tonight's going to be great. Get outside and enjoy it. It didn't look that way this morning, huh? Gloomy as can be, like dark out there. Some rain coming down. We needed it. All of our lawns and flower beds and the like, golf courses, etc., needed a little downpour. We got it, and significant enough to actually water the lawn, not just a sprinkle. Exactly what the doctor ordered. And then after lunch, things just cleared up, and beautiful day. One of the many reasons why we live down here, the weather. Boy, a lot going on. Hey, we cover it all on this program every day. You never have to worry about some agenda or the boss is keeping me from talking about a story or I'm politically connected and I don't want to alienate folks, step on toes, or I'm uninformed, don't keep up, former FM disc jockey type. Hey, I'll do talk radio. I've always been in radio. It's a little more to it than that. No, we stay on top of everything. We, even when it's happening during the program, because we're informed, we're prepared, we can shift gears and 86 entire show sheet of topics if there's a breaking story and give something to the listener, viewer, some information from even a breaking story in the middle of the program. Don't have to wait till tomorrow or hear a bunch of talking heads, pundits. We talked about the nearly $6 billion steel plan about a month ago, but some official news today, Jeff Landry, the governor at the White House. We've had Oliver Thomas on for the last few weeks, building up to the announcement which he made that he's running for mayor and staying on top of that story. No, you don't need to read about it in the paper after the fact or hear it on another talk show a week later. We have it for you all the time, staying on top of that. Helena Moreno will be joining us soon. It's going to be a battle royale until October. Who's going to be next mayor, city of New Orleans, a leadership position that's been void for a long time, years and years and years, with the Joker, Junket Cantrell at the controls, just selfish, worried about herself, not worried about the citizens of New Orleans, rarely working, 1 out of 5 days outside the city, 1 out of 5 days, not in New Orleans. Crazy. I always thought that mayor's gig was a full-time job. Anyway, yeah, Jeff Landry was at the White House earlier today with President Trump. That announcement we talked about weeks ago, official $5.8 billion Hyundai steel plant coming to Louisiana. They'll be building, or I should say, manufacturing steel that'll be used not only in their Hyundai and Kia plants, also in the South. I want to say one's in Alabama, one's in Georgia, maybe. But also they'll be selling this steel to like Ford and GM, other domestic automakers or plants that are located in the United States if they're not domestic. So nearly a $6 billion plant. About 1,500 jobs at that plant, paying nearly $100,000 each. And then they're talking about 4,000 indirect jobs because of that Hyundai steel plant. You know, Alabama did not have an automotive job 30 years ago in their state, 35 years ago. Not one automotive job, not a single one, 30 years ago. Now they have about 15% of all North American automotive jobs. A lot of car manufacturing plants, several, and a ton, probably hundreds of parts manufacturers throughout that state. I often talk to Michael Hecht, the electric car thing's about to take off. I-12 corridor north of New Orleans is a perfect place. Let's make it the electric car, center of America. Instead, we're making the crappy stuff for the batteries. The toxic chemicals used in the batteries, we're making that, and then we're shipping it out to another state that's manufacturing the batteries. If we're going to make the crap for the batteries, we should be making the entire battery here. Battery plants, and then ideally an electric car manufacturing plant or two or three, like Alabama. Why not? It seems like, wow, that's just such a faraway, crazy idea. It wasn't in Alabama. Corey Johnson with you on a gorgeous Monday afternoon. Hey, Jay Luno's going to join us. He's a state senator from Alexandria. Specifically, I want to discuss Senate Bill 11 that he's going to introduce at next month's session and hopefully make some changes to it. I like the start. I like what Jay Juneau's thinking, but I think the legislation has some flaws. He's going to explain it to us. Senate Bill 11 proposes hiking fines for drivers who block the left lane of the interstate by driving under the speed limit. The under the speed limit part is unnecessary, is not needed in this legislation. Anyone driving in the left lane of the interstate, not proactively, sort of pseudo-aggressively passing. You know, someone doing 65 in the right and you're doing 66 passing them isn't good enough. That's blocking the left lane. Get up to speed, pass them, and get back over to the right. And the speed limit factor in this is irrelevant. If you're doing the speed limit in the left lane, get over to the right and stick with all the other folks doing the speed limit. I'm not encouraging anyone to speed. The point is, if someone is speeding coming up behind you, they're breaking the law. But by you driving in the left lane, doing the speed limit and not letting them pass, you too are breaking the law. I just don't understand. I'm pulling up to a red light the other day. Now, this isn't even on the interstate. It's a 2-lane road. There's a person in the right lane, and there's a vehicle pulling up behind them in the right lane, and the left lane's open. I'm coming up on the left lane, so I'm going to get front row at the red light. All of a sudden, that car that was number 2 in the right lane cuts over to the left lane. So I'm like, fine. I guess you're going to be aggressively passing that car in the right lane. No, just stayed the same speed. I mean, I wanted to pull up on the neutral ground. I'm joking. Pull up, roll down your window. Hey, why did you get over to the left lane on this road if you're not passing the car on the right and you're driving the exact same speed, limiting anyone else from passing? And don't give me, I'm doing the speed limit, because that's not a good answer. No, driving in the left lane is against the law. The speed is irrelevant, and I'm not encouraging people to speed. The point is, if you're driving in the left lane, it's against the law. Get over to the right. Why are you driving in the left lane? You folks right now, heading to Slidell, heading to LaPlace, heading to the North Shore. Why are you driving in the left lane unconsciously? I've been here a few minutes. Why are you in the left lane? Get over to the right. That's where you're supposed to be. State Senator Jay Luno from Alexandria is going to join us when we come back and talk about his Senate Bill 11. I'm going to try to adjust it a little bit, add a couple of caveats. Speed limit irrelevant, Jay. And also, in city limits, let's get rid of 18-wheelers in the left lane of the interstate. Corey Johnson with you.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
I was excited when I read about this legislation because I'm always complaining about folks driving too slowly in the left lane. Jay Luno, state senator from Alexandria, has some legislation that we could see going down next month. Senate Bill 11, proposing hiking fines for drivers who block the left lane by driving under the speed limit. That legislative session starts on April 14th, on a Monday of next month, just a few weeks away. State Senator Jay Luno from Alexandria joins us live on the program. Jay, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hey, I like this Senate Bill 11. No, we have a lot of folks that some are just unconscious, unaware. Some are sort of belligerent, and it's dangerous, can spike road rage. That's sort of a known, fact with studies from around the country. Talking about folks driving in the left lane of the interstate, talk about Senate Bill 11 that you're proposing.
So I've started looking into this a while back because, as you can imagine, being a state senator, I travel up and down the highways in Louisiana quite a bit and encounter this problem quite often. And I talked to a couple of advocacy groups that do safety stuff out of Washington, D.C., and then I talked to some Louisiana State Police folks. And one of the things that I found out is the number of wrecks that these incidents cause. People switching lanes quickly to try to get around them, other people slowing down to try to impede traffic on purpose because they don't like people coming up behind them on the road, others passing on the shoulder. And so it does create a safety issue for those of us on the road, not to mention an issue dealing with commerce. You have a lot of trucks on the road in Louisiana. We have more ports than any other state, so consequently we have a lot of truck traffic. And these trucks have a problem with these cars when they're going side by side. It slows them down as well as other traffic. And so there are a multitude of reasons to bring this legislation, but we already have in place in Louisiana law that says you can only use the left lane for passing. And there are some exceptions to that, of course, in areas where there are left-hand turns and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But the primary reason was to try to get people moving, to try to cut down on accidents and cut down on some of the road rage that we're seeing more and more of.
Boy, you nailed it, Jay. All those different examples you brought up are right on the money. People having a pass in the right, even some idiots going on the shoulder out of frustration. It's dangerous, causing accidents, folks getting stuck behind other vehicles, people doing it on purpose. No, the law exists. From what I understand, in some of the rural spots, I guess it's more obvious and blatant and easy for the state troopers to spot it. From what I understand, in more of the rural areas of the state on the interstate, they are ticketing folks for, quote, driving in the left lane in some cases.
Yeah, and a lot of it is intentionally. A lot of people feel like I even talked to one gentleman about this, and he told me, he said, I'm a taxpaying citizen. I have the right to drive in that left lane if I want to drive in the left lane. But that's not true.
No.
We currently have a law that prevents you from doing that, and it's a law that's not been enforced because it was very cumbersome the way it was written. It made it difficult for police officers to write tickets because there had to be a 10-mile-per-hour differentiation and all these kind of things. And so we've removed some of that stuff. But I think most importantly, that we've increased the fine. The fine was $100 for the when you got a ticket for it, and so I've increased that, a first offense to $150, a second offense to $250, and a third offense to $350, and the possibility of 30 days in jail as well. And so what we're trying to do is hoping to bring some attention to this, to get some folks to get over in that right lane and to drive in the lane that the law says you're supposed to drive in.
You get Superintendent Hodges from the state police maybe up there when that legislation passes saying, we're going to be enforcing this law, like a twofold thing. Increasing the fines is fantastic. I'm all for it. But also letting folks know we're going to enforce this law that exists. So be ready.
Yeah, we're hoping that the simplifying the law and making it where troopers have a little bit of discretion in what they can do in this is going to help in that regard too.
Yep. Yeah, kind of automatic education on the topic by just simply you having the law passed. No, you're right on the money. Jay Luna's with us. It's Senate Bill 11. Hey, Jay, why is there even a speed limit component to it? I think of the folks driving in the left lane, 1 out of 20 tops aren't doing the speed limit. I think what the problem is, they're driving in the left lane. They're not aggressively passing. Why not have your law go down and just take out that speed limit component to it?
So what we're trying to do is not encourage people to speed on the highways and to break other laws, but to abide by all of the laws. And that's one of the components in it. When this bill was originally written and passed as a law many years ago, that was considered, and it was a portion of it. So I tried not to completely reinvent the wheel here, and I just tried to simplify it as best we could to see if we can get some results from that before we go any further with it.
Got you. No, that's fair enough. I understand that. I don't want to encourage anyone to speed either, but I think the reality is the speed folks kind of hover right around the speed limit. Might be doing a mile or two over or under. But something like original thought about driving in that left lane, I could be doing 70 in the left lane, and it's a 70-mile-per-hour zone. And if someone is barreling up my rear end at 90, they're breaking the law by speeding, but I'm breaking the law by not allowing them to pass. I mean,
That's exactly right. If you're going the same speed limit as a car next to you and you're staying that speed limit, then you are breaking the law because you're not passing. Now, if you're just driving in it with no regard for anybody else, you're obviously breaking the law because it says that you can only use it for passing. And a lot of people get in that left lane and they say, well, there's nobody behind me, and they don't pay attention to who's coming up behind them.
Yep.
The next thing you know, there's a long line of traffic behind them and they have to get out of the way.
Yep.
So we're just trying to encourage people to be a little bit more respectful. One of the things that I've noticed traveling on the interstate system quite a bit is out-of-state drivers. Out-of-state drivers, when a car comes up behind them, they tend to get over a lot quicker. And I think maybe it's because they're used to that because the laws in their state require that they do that.
Yeah, right. You're right on the money, Jay. I've noticed the exact same thing. Not so much like a Texas plate, because a lot of those folks might be Louisiana folks that were coming in and out. But yeah, any kind of plate that is from far away from Louisiana, folks get right over to the right, like you're supposed to. It's common sense. I do it on regular roads. It doesn't have to be an interstate or highway. I get over to the right.
Exactly.
There's just very few exceptions, like a left exit on the interstate. Very, very few exceptions why you should be in the left lane.
Rarely see those things on the interstate. When you do, it's in an urban area where they're, left-hand exits. But on the state highways, you see it more often than coming into smaller towns, communities like that. There'll be left-hand exits. So people have to be mindful of that and be courteous about that as well. But I don't really think that's a problem. I think the problem is further out on the bigger highways and on the interstates where people are just intentionally driving in the left lane and don't care who's behind us.
Yeah, no, exactly. 100% agreed. Hey, Jay, you know how to get stuff passed. I mean, I want it all done right away. You're like, hey, we're going to keep the speed limit component in and then go from there. This might be muddling up the works a little bit. Like I said, I want everything at once, and you're smart, and let me piecemeal this, and then we're going to build it up to whatever it might become. Would be adding into this bill no 18-wheelers in the left lane within, say, city limits, like the big municipalities, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, Ellick, Monroe, and Shreveport. When you're within, like, in New Orleans, it might be 2 parishes, Orleans and Jefferson. In the other places, it might just be 1. No 18-wheelers in the left lane at all in those municipalities. I don't know why an 18-wheeler would need to be in the left lane within, like, the, quote, city limits.
So we have some elevated highways already, interstate highways in the state of Louisiana that do not allow trucks in the left lane, and so they have to travel in the right lane. Some people complain and say that makes it more dangerous because when those trucks there's so many of them gathered up in there, and a car gets between them, they can't see to get in and out, those kind of things. But that's a safety consideration, and the feds have placed that in the law, and so the state of Louisiana abides by it, and we do have some of those, and they tend to keep traffic moving, because especially when you get 18-wheelers side by side, there's just not much you can do to get those guys out of the way.
I think they got rid of the one from Baton Rouge to Lafayette, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I thought over that stretch, it was all 18-wheelers in the right lane, and then they got rid of that. I don't know if it's necessary in rural areas. I don't know if it's necessary where the interstate's 2 lanes. But, Jay, like in Orleans Parish and Metairie, or in East Baton Rouge, I don't see any reason why an 18-wheeler should be in the left lane, except East Baton Rouge does have some left exits off the I-110, I guess. Which,
yeah, that's correct.
But not too many. So I don't know. I just see 18-wheelers in the left lane. Hell, Jay, I'm so out of control. In New Orleans, I'd say no taxis going to the airport in the left lane. So,
Yeah, sometimes that gets difficult, especially when you have multi-lane highways where you have 4 and 5 lanes going in one direction. It's sometimes it gets difficult to switch lanes and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a balancing act, and you try to find the sweet spot and get the law passed and do what you can. And sometimes you have to tweak it. So that's kind of where we work from.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the time this afternoon, Jay. We'll be keeping an eye on Senate Bill 11, and best of luck next month when the session cranks up.
Thank you very much.
That's Jay Luno joining us, state senator from Alexandria. It's Senate Bill 11. And I like it. I don't think it needs the speed limit part of it, but you heard what Jay said. Let's try to get this thing. It's sad because he has to keep that in there because he doesn't want to promote speeding. I'm not trying to promote speeding either. It's just driving in the left lane regardless of the speed limit. Someone's trying to pass you. You need to get over to the right. End of story. No exceptions. It doesn't matter if they're speeding or not. Why are you in the left lane to begin with driving? Corey Johnson with you. Coming right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Real New Orleans musicians in that Total Maintenance jingle. Honorama, all New Orleans musicians, real music. Human beings that can play an instrument, that practiced for years and became great at what they do, a real instrument. It's kind of neat. Hey, you folks in music in 2025, you should try it. Pick up a guitar, piano, flute, trumpet. Learn to play the instrument. Add it to your repertoire. I can push buttons on a keyboard. I can even rap, too. My name is Corey. That's the story. I don't try to be a very boring. So you can just say boring instead of boring, and it all works. Don't even have to rhyme. Don't even have to rhyme. Just could be pretty close. Pretty close. It all works. Does Kane West, I think it's pronounced Kane. Can Kane West play any instrument? You got to pull up this video. Jay-Z, for some reason, I don't know why, he slung a guitar around his neck in a show, and he appears to be strumming on the guitar every now and then. Not quite sure if it's even plugged in or not, but that's clearly someone that doesn't know how to play a guitar. Jay-Z, pull him up with a guitar. Just Jay-Z, go to YouTube. Jay-Z playing the guitar in a concert. And you're going to be like, Jay-Z's not playing the guitar in the concert. That's Corey Johnson. He can move the hand on the neck, and he can strum the chords. But, crap's coming out. Nothing musical. I don't think that guitar was even plugged in. Come on, people. Learn to play an instrument, by golly. It is a Monday afternoon, absolutely gorgeous day. Low 70s. Tonight's going to be awesome. Can't wait to walk totally around the neighborhood. Maybe get a little breeze coming out of the north, hopefully. Cool and crisp evening should be nice. Boy, I don't get Louisiana sometimes. We cut off our nose to spite our face. Port of Louisiana, buying a big piece of property in Violet. They've got about, 1.2 billion of the $2 billion needed to get this port rolling. This container terminal. So places like Mobile, Alabama, that have passed New Orleans in container volume. Mobile, Alabama does more containers than the Napoleon terminal in Uptown. That's insane. This is the port of New Orleans on the mighty Mississippi River. It's a joke. Should be doing 2, 3, 4, 5 times the containers of Mobile, Alabama. No, they're proactive. They're aggressive. They're maximizing what they do. We minimize what we do. And then when we toss a bone, I'm a Metro New Orleans guy. When the Port of New Orleans tosses a bone to St. Bernard, they're barking at that bone. They're kicking it away. They don't want it. Valero wants to expand their plant, their tank farm, put more toxic crap in the air, water, land. St. Bernard folks are loving that 75 new jobs. You're getting hundreds and hundreds of jobs at this container terminal. It's green, no pollution. You're getting an access road from Violet to the I-510, an elevated hundreds of millions of dollar access road, an elevated way out of the parish, like even during a hurricane, when the hurricane's hitting, if you had to get out, you could. No, and St. Bernard folks are freaking out about it. It's unbelievable. Here's a gold brick. I've got to carry this heavy thing? Yeah, St. Bernard, you got to carry the heavy gold brick. Jeez, Pete's. It's mind-blowing. So defeatist, so second-rate in New Orleans, man. People want to build something. Neighbors don't want that in their neighborhood. Going to build a $2 billion container terminal, put the Port of New Orleans back on the map. And St. Bernard, I don't think the majority of St. Bernard folks are opposed to it. It's like the mid-Barataria diversion. The majority of Plaquemine Parish folks aren't opposed to that. Probably the majority want it. The squeaky wheels and the politicians, a handful of folks that fish and oystermen, they're against it. But don't think it's the majority. It's just the squeaky wheels. Same thing in St. Bernard. I guarantee you the majority of St. Bernard residents are for that project. I can take a clipboard and go knock on someone in St. Bernard's door and go, boy, this thing's going to cause traffic problems. This is going to be a big pain. They're just jamming this down his throat. Screw New Orleans. They're going to bring all the crime from New Orleans down here. Sign that we don't want it. Someone's going to sign that. I could knock on a door in St. Bernard and go, this is going to be a great project. It's $2 billion. It's going to bring other businesses here. You can have more po' boy shop choices and nicer things. There's going to be more diversity of businesses. That area is going to grow. You're going to have a hurricane evacuation route, something we've all deserved for decades. That it's sad that
this port terminal is going to bring us that, but that's the truth. We should have had it naturally. It's only a positive. Will you sign for the container terminal? They're going to sign that. People with clipboards banging on a door in the Bywater against the Elysian Hotel. I could get people to sign that. And I could easily get more people to sign that they're for the hotel by how I approach it and how I sell it. No, that's politics at its worst. Not coming up with any solution, just pointing to the other person and saying they're the bad guy, they're the problem, hate them, vote for me. Oh, what am I going to do? I have no clue. I'm going to eat on the taxpayer dime and take junkets, but they're the enemy. No, it's mind-blowing. So now Plaquemine Parish, right across the river from St. Bernard, they've got a container port idea. They've had a container port idea for decades and decades and decades. What's that citrus land owned by a French bank? The French bank's going to finance the container terminal, blah, 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 blah. No rail lines, no interstate lines, outside the flood, protection levee. There's a lot of reasons that's never, ever happened. But now we got the Port of New Orleans with a couple of folks that, from the private sector, stevedoring companies that are going to put up $800 million, $800 million, and nearly $1 billion, and then another $400 million from the feds. So way past halfway home of the $2 billion. And now these Plaquemine folks are saying, we want to build a port. And now they even named it. Hey, we better name this thing. Just saying we're going to build a port's not good enough. So they have the international terminal. We're the Louisiana Gateway Port. No, you're just the Louisiana Gateway idea that's going against the local guys. It's mind-blowing. Go build a port in another state. Go compete against Mobile. Don't compete against your neighbor, your friend, the Port of New Orleans, that's already done all the research, bought the land, moving forward. There's already red tape and bureaucracy. They should have broken ground on this thing years ago. It's still going to be a year or so before they break ground. Still got people complaining in St. Bernard. Now, then Plaquemine just comes up with this. I mean, the Port of Mobile, Port of Gulfport, Savannah, Houston, they must laugh at this. Jesus, man. I mean, there's stories of foreign folks, foreign investors saying, the Port of New Orleans coming to talk to me. Last month, it was the Port of South Louisiana. Y'all aren't all together? No, we're not. We're in the same state and we compete against each other while the real competitors kick our ass, like Mobile and Houston and Savannah, Gulfport even. It's embarrassing. So now the Plaquemine Port has hired David Vitter, the former senator, to lobby for this Plaquemine Port. I mean, I'm going to have to get David Vitter on the show. Seriously, it's almost like it's like the Boris Mart mentality. Someone's got to take the erroneous lawsuit. Someone's got to be the television attorney. Someone's going to do it. Might as well be me. That like Vitter. Might as well take the lobbying money. Someone's got to do it when it's not for the betterment of Metro New Orleans. Plaquemine Parish included. No plan, no infrastructure in place. All you're doing is helping all the ports around the region get stronger and potentially hurting the international terminal. No, I mean, I'm David Vitter. I'd probably say, hey, guys, the New Orleans port's going to build the thing in St. Bernard, the international terminal. They're moving ahead. It's a green light. It's a go. They're moving. Few little squabbles in St. Bernard. It's gonna move forward. They're building infrastructure too, not just the port. $400 or $500 million road from the port to the I-510 elevated, like double duty as a hurricane protection. Entrance and exit from the area, mostly an exit, and the toll will be paid for by the container trucks, unlike that Plaquemine Bridge on the West Bank that you'd have to pay to get down to your port, where the people are already paying that live in Plaquemine 25 cents each way. Well, soon it'll be 25 cents each way when the toll's enacted. Only the trucks going to the port facility in St. Bernard will pay the toll. No St. Bernard or Violet residents will pay that. They'll just enjoy the elevated road every day.
No, it's mind-blowing that Plaquemine is competing against the Port of New Orleans with a container terminal, and it's just a weak effort. Now they've even named it the Louisiana Gateway Port, and they've hired David Vitter to lobby for the port. Crazy. School zones to be reactivated in New Orleans. It was crazy how they used to be. Much better how they are now. I'll fill you in on that. Chinese crawfish sold at the St. Bernard, Louisiana Crawfish Festival. Really? What's wrong with you people? Seriously. I don't get it. I really don't. Hey, I went into Art and Eyes on Sunday. Picked up another pair of prescription sunglasses. Jacques-Marie Mage is the name brand. Probably a name brand you've never heard of. That's a good thing. Google them. Eyewear as unique as you. Art and Eyes on Magazine. As good as it gets anywhere in the world. Art and Eyes on Magazine. If you wear prescription eyewear or need great sunglasses, Art and Eyes on Magazine.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Lady Tigers are playing tonight, trying to get to the Sweet 16, LSU, Florida State. Brett Martell will join us in the 5 o'clock Power Hour, live from the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. You looking for a place to check out the Lady Tigers tonight, plus get dinner? Maybe the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16 this weekend. How about Major League Baseball cranking up? How about LSU Tulane baseball? How about legendary Tracy's on Magazine? Caddy corner from that Bromart between Washington and Louisiana. Magazine at Pleasant. Legendary Tracy's, bigger and better location, all the flat screens you need, full service kitchen with food you actually want to eat at a sports bar. Isn't that refreshing? Magazine at Pleasant. Legendary Tracy's, be there. 73 degrees, absolutely outstanding weather. That's when you want to go out on that big balcony, the second floor balcony over Magazine at Tracy's. No, the weather's great. Can't wait to get outside after the program, but I love doing what I'm doing. I'm fired up to finish this hour and then the 5 o'clock Power Hour. More school zones to be reactivated in New Orleans. How can there be some good news from this? Well, they're going to actually have to abide by the state law. Consider this for a second, how just dopey and crazy New Orleans is with their school zones. First off, New Orleans has charter schools, all charter schools. Like one school is run by the Orleans Parish Public School Board. I think it's on Carrollton. What did they change that? Man, I should know the name of this school. I drive by it all the time. Oh boy. Yeah, this is a little embarrassing. It's Leah Chase School. You know, I knew Leah Chase, loved Leah Chase, like most New Orleanians, just kind of the standard bearer, just a great representative, the Queen of New Orleans. Such a sweet, beautiful lady. No, it's the Leah Chase School. I think all other Orleans Parish public schools are charter schools. So they're all run by individual groups, hopefully educators, and they all go by their own rules, basically, as far as start and stop times. And it can be different on different days. So this old school, pun intended, universal BS school zone that Orleans Parish set up is a joke. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I mean, that school might not start until 8:30. So from like 7 to 8, there's no one around the school. The doors are locked. There's not a teacher or student anywhere, but it's a 20-mile-an-hour zone. Or worse, they don't start till like 8:45, almost 9 a.m. And then the school zone's just a total waste. So 2-hour school zone, 7 to 9 a.m., most of the schools not applicable except for a very small time period, maybe 45 minutes or an hour tops. Then the afternoon, another 2-hour block, 2:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. I mean, what school's letting out that late? None. Now, here's the crazy part when you break it down. When we're doing most of our commerce in the city, when folks are driving around, tooling around, going from one place to another to spend money on the highways and byways of our city, the roads, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., like that 10, 11, 12 hours top. You want to call it 7 to 7, like radio? 10, 12 hours? 4 hours? Like a third minimum, up to 40% of the prime time, daytime driving. Orleans Parish has a bunch of school zones that are working, that are keeping cars to 20 miles an hour. And with the traffic cameras, a lot of folks are doing like 13 and 15 in a school zone. It's unreal. It's a 20, people. Do 20. Okay, do 20. When grandma has the oxygen tank in the walker and she's passing you on the sidewalk in the school zone walking, that's a problem. 13 miles an hour in the school zone. It's a school zone you never can go too slow, and I don't want to get a ticket. Grow up. Be an adult. 20 is painfully slow enough. We don't have a problem running over children in New Orleans in school zones. But then just this 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon is a joke. State law now makes sense. Whenever the school starts the day, like school opens at 8 a.m., an hour before, nothing after, because everyone's in school. You know, you don't leave the school zone going for the late stragglers. There's a school bell. That's the deadline. School starts at 8. State law, you can have it an hour before. So at 8, when the school bell rings and everybody's in the building and they shut the doors, the school zone stops operating. Isn't that neato? If a school starts at 8:30, their school zone's going to go 7:30 to 8:30, the hour up to the school bell. And the same applies after school, just the opposite fashion. When the school bell rings, it's an hour after that. Some charter school might get out at 2, one at 2:30, one at 3:15, 1 hour after they let out. Customize for each school. You know, it's 2025. Imagine that. Customize for each school, having the technology. Geesh. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way next. Every day, all of this on radio, on television, on YouTube. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. You can find out about all of that. Where we are on radio, 4 stations. Where we are on television, 2 stations or 2 channels. We're on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Just go to CoreyTalks.com. I think you can go to CoreyJohnson.com. I think you can misspell Corey, CoreyTalks.com. It'll all lead you to CoreyTalks.com, and it's all there. And it's all brought to you every day by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kennebra and the commercial truck, van, SUV Lamarck dealership, Lamarck Crescent City Ford, for over 80 years on Jefferson Highway. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park doing you right. Inventory, price, service. They own the Mercedes-Benz dealership in Mobile, Alabama. They know all about service. Corey Johnson with you. That's Blue Boy barking. Every day, the program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and Lamarck Crescent City Ford. What, Blue Boy? Make sure you tell folks to stick around. Why, buddy? Because the 5 o'clock power hour is next. Thank you, Blue Boy. He's right. Don't move.
You're on the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
My city Jittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Yeah, you're right. Boy, a rainy, gloomy morning, huh? Late morning, around lunch, just dark, rain, nasty. Now look outside. It is New Orleans on a glorious Monday afternoon in March. Daylight till about 7:30. That means like 2.5 more hours of daylight. Get outside, enjoy this fantastic weather. Just bring the show with you. The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson live on YouTube. Smartphone, tablet, pad, laptop, home computer. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. Cox Channel 4 TV. Spectrum Channel 333 TV. Hey, this Monday, 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Lebanon's Cafe. They're open till 9:30. I went with my brother and my mommy yesterday for lunch. Carlina took care of us like she does every Sunday when we go in there. Just about every Sunday. I'd say 3 Sundays a week. Me, my brother, my mom, sometimes my sister. We're at Lebanon's Cafe. My mom loves Lebanon's Cafe. She's 100% Syrian, Lebanese. It's right up her alley. Her mother, my Situ, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make this stuff. Football kibbe, lamb chops, shish kebab, tabbouleh, baba ganoush, hummus, mujedra. All of it's great. Baba ganoush, that's ground chickpeas. Oh, no, excuse me, that's ground eggplant, baba ganoush. The ground chickpeas, that's hummus. Tabbouleh is parsley, maybe some mint, tomato, cucumber, chopped up, olive oil, lemon, some salt, black pepper. Fantastic, like a light little salad. I take my fried football kibbe, that's like a Lebanese meat pie. I bust it open. I pull the meat out of the inside, the hashwi. That's Arabic, I think, for what that meat's called. And at least my Situ used to call it hashwi. And I jam some of the tabbouleh in the fried kibbe. Unbelievable. Awesome. Lebanon's Cafe, 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9:30 at night, straight through. Indoor dining, outdoor dining, to-go orders. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. You won't be disappointed. Large portions, authentic, fresh, priced right. Tough to beat Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette in Uptown, the Carrollton section of Uptown. 5 o'clock power hour. Brought to you by Lebanon's Cafe. Did I mention 73 degrees? Go dine outside at Lebanon's tonight. Outdoor dining tonight. That's an order. No, it is great weather. Outdoor dining, do some grilling. Get outside, enjoy the weather. Plaquemine Parish Container Port, which is just it's like the Corey Johnson Container Port. I mean, there's no real plan. There's no money. There's no rail link. There's no infrastructure. The worst part, they're competing against their neighbor across the street, across the river in St. Bernard. They're competing against the Port of New Orleans. It's like Louisiana. We cut off our nose to spite our face. And competing ports must love this. Must love this. First off, if you're Mobile or Gulfport or Savannah or Houston, you're like, man, the New Orleans International Terminal, if they can get it built, it's Louisiana. I hear the people in St. Bernard are complaining. Not the majority, just the squeaky wheels that have some stroke. $2 billion international terminal changes the game for New Orleans. Gets the Port of New Orleans back in business. The metro area back in business. The blessing. I mean, you're St. Bernard, you're like, wow, thank God they chose us. They chose us, and we're getting an access road, hundreds of millions of dollars from Violet to the I-510, elevated above the ground so a hurricane could be hitting and I could still get out of Dodge. St. Bernard folks should be doing backward flips. Wow. A major multi-billion-dollar investment that's going to employ hundreds, and it's a green job. It's not some chemical plant or an oil or gas refinery. I was in St. Bernard post-Katrina. It was toxic. A foot of toxic crap on the cars, on the ground, driving out at Jackson Barracks. Firemen with fire hoses taking this purplish black soil off your car, this wet, toxic crap that was like sticking out about a foot off your vehicle. My vehicle was like a big lumbering thing because it had hundreds of pounds of crap hooked on the side. Literally, the fire department hosing it off at the parish line because it was just toxic. Ruptured tank farms, petroleum products, toxic. It reeked in the air. I'm going to be on my deathbed and go, I would have had another few months if I didn't go down to St. Bernard those 2 or 3 times after Katrina to do reports and breathe in this toxic sludge. No, it's none of that. It's a green job. St. Bernard folks should be doing backward flips instead, bitching and complaining. It's like the New Orleans way. Here's a gold brick. Okay, you're giving it to me. I got to carry this heavy thing? You know, that. Yeah, sorry, you got to carry the heavy gold brick. Unbelievable. So now Plaquemine's competing against St. Bernard. Plaquemine folks have just enough wherewithal, like, we better name our port. Because, you know, this idea, which is all a farce, we better have a name. A name will make it more legit. So their name's now the Louisiana Gateway Port. The New Orleans port, the Port of New Orleans Violet Terminal is called the International Terminal. They've already got about $1.3, $1.4 billion lined up for it. Real money, legit, in place. Plaquemines just an idea, a joke, a farce. And now they've gone as far to name it the Louisiana Gateway Port, and they've apparently hired ex-Senator, former Senator David Vitter to lobby for their port. I mean, I'm almost David Vitter. I'm like, guys, I'm for the Port of New Orleans and the International Terminal. Go find someone else. But Vitter's probably like Boris Mart or any of these TV attorneys, most of these TV attorneys. Boy, if I don't take the erroneous fraud case, the guy who's obviously lying who isn't hurt, someone else will. It'll get that money. You know, if I don't lobby for the Plaquemine Port, even though it's the wrong idea for the region, someone else will, and they'll get the money. So Vitter's apparently lobbying for the Plaquemine Container Port, even though it's a mistake. Now, I got to get Vitter on the show and be like, dude, you're taking the money just to take the money and lobbying for them, but you know the New Orleans port's the better thing. It's got rail, it's got interstate, it's going to have a new elevated roadway that's going to double as a hurricane evacuation route and an everyday road for these folks in St. Bernard, and go on and on and on and on. Inside of, you know, the flood levee protection, not outside of it like in Plaquemine. Anyway, no, we cut off our nose to spite our face. And the competition, the real competition, Houston and Gulfport, Mobile, Savannah, they laugh at us. They love it. They love it. Oh, those are those idiots in Louisiana. They'll fight each other. They'll beat up each other. We can just go in and take what we want. That's been the history. We need to change that. This Plaquemine thing needs to go away. The governor of the state of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, needs to say, I'm with the Port of New Orleans. I'm with the International Terminal. I am not backing this Louisiana Gateway Port in Plaquemine. Discussion over with. End it already. That's what Jeff Landry needs to do. Step up and end this tomfoolery where we're fighting against ourselves, competing against ourselves, while the true competition kicks our butt. More school zones to be reactivated, but they'll follow state law. Not this 2-hour window from 7 to 9 a.m., regardless of when the charter school starts class, and not this afternoon 2:45 to 4:45 window of 2 hours, regardless of when the charter school stops classes. Every New Orleans public school, pretty much every one of them, starts and stops at different times. The school zones need to follow that. And with the new Louisiana law, before the school bell rings in the morning and after it rings in the afternoon, you get 1 hour. An hour before it rings in the morning, an hour after it rings in the afternoon. That's it. No 2-hour generic window that isn't applicable. Lazy New Orleans. It's 2025. The technology's been there forever. But, you know, we're basically whoring it out. We want the traffic camera fines. 2-hour window instead of what it should be. Now they're following the state law. Every school zone different. When those lights are ringing, the cameras will be activated. When the lights are flashing, the cameras will be activated. When the lights are rigging. Wow. Governor Jeff Landry at the White House announcing that $5.8 billion Hyundai steel mill in South Louisiana, right up the river about 30 miles, 40 miles. $6 billion Hyundai steel plant for their cars, Hyundai, Kia, and for Ford, GM, and other U.S. manufacturers. That's where that steel will go. Chinese crawfish sold at the Louisiana Crawfish Festival down in St. Bernard. Shame on you people. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No, sell the Chinese crawfish at the St. Bernard Crawfish Festival, but don't embrace the port terminal. That's Louisiana. That's pro New Orleans and Louisiana. Good going. Good going. Will Wade, it'll be announced tomorrow officially, the press conference. It's a done deal, a 6-year deal. Will Wade coaching NC State.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBarre by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Mr. Art Neville. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Last hour, I had Jay Luno on. He's a state senator from Alexandria. He's introducing legislation to basically keep people from driving in the left lane on the interstate. It is, I know this is crazy for some of you, and I think some of you hear me and then just go, they either say Corey's wrong or I don't believe him or I don't care. I'm going to not go with that. It's stupid. The law, no driving with hazard lights on. You can't have a moving vehicle with your hazard lights on. Corey, it's a torrential downpour. It's raining like crazy. Doesn't matter. If you feel compelled to turn on your hazard lights, get off the road. That's what that should say. Corey says that it's against the law to be a moving vehicle with the hazards on, but boy, the torrential rainstorm, I have to put them on. No, you have to get off the road because you're breaking the law. Right on red, right turn on red is legal unless there's a sign saying no turn on red. Otherwise, right on red is legal in Louisiana. And driving in the left lane of the interstate is against the law. What do you mean, Corey, driving? I'm in a car. I have to be driving. No, driving is for the middle and right lanes. Passing vehicles is what the left lane is exclusively for. Exclusively. It's not for driving at all. You may think I'm lying. You may think I'm wrong. You may think I'm incorrect, but that's the law. That's a fact. I'm 110% correct. On the interstate, the left lane is for passing exclusively, never for driving. So you folks, and you do it all the time, I don't get it. But I mentioned this on a road where it's not necessarily the law. I'm pulling up to a stoplight. It's a 2-lane road. There's a car in the right lane, and there's a car in front of me that's about to be behind that car in the right lane. I'm in the left lane, so I will be in the front row at the light. Right before I get up there, the second car in the right lane cuts into the left lane and gets to the front row, which they did nothing wrong. They didn't cut me off. But then the light turns green and they go no faster than the vehicle in the right lane. Literally just a rolling roadblock. Like, what compelled you to get over to the left lane and not pass the vehicle that you were behind? Why would you get over to the left lane and drive the same speed and not let anyone pass? I don't like being next to anyone on any road. They could have a blowout. They could wreck into me. I don't want to be near anybody. I'd rather be behind or in front of vehicles. I don't want to be in a big cluster of vehicles on any road. I mean, sometimes it's traffic. There's no way to avoid it. But it just blew me away. Like, this person got over to the left to get in the front row and then didn't pass. Just drove the same speed, like rolling roadblock. Honestly, I'm not built to live in Laplace or Slidell or on the North Shore because of the commute. It would drive me batty every day, driving in traffic hours. When the traffic's flowing, I'm not talking about bumper to bumper, where it's moving. And going to Slidell from New Orleans East, people driving in the left lane on I-10 in the east or on the twin span. Going from Kenner to Laplace, people driving in the left lane. On the causeway to the North Shore, people driving in the left lane, not passing. If you're in the left lane and you're passing, but just barely, like a mile or 2 an hour faster than the other vehicle, and you're worried about the speed limit, and you look in your left mirror, your rearview mirror, and it's a line of cars behind you. Get over to the right already. Let all those cars pass. The only problem I had with Jay Luno's law or proposed legislation, one problem. This is it. I thought this was totally unnecessary. Senate Bill 11 by Jay Luno of Alexandria proposes hiking fines for drivers who block the left lane by driving under the speed limit. The speed limit is irrelevant. Anyone driving in the left lane, you get in the left lane, you pass aggressively, proactively, and you get back over to the right. If you're like, boy, I'd have to speed to pass, then don't. Why are you getting in the left then? Stay in the right if you feel you'd have to speed to pass. They must be doing the speed limit. Stay in the middle lane or the right lane. Do not drive in the left lane. No, I even told Jay two things. The speed limit component is irrelevant. It doesn't need to be in the legislation. And second, add a little caveat. In city limits, like in New Orleans, it would be Orleans and Jefferson Parish. In Baton Rouge, it would be East Baton Rouge. I guess there could be parts of Lafayette, Lake Charles, Ellick, Monroe, Shreveport even. No 18-wheelers in the left lane of the interstate at any time ever, ever. Now, in Baton Rouge, there are some exits on the left side of the interstate on I-110. So I guess they'd have to get in the left lane if they had to exit there. But those exits are like to downtown. Nothing trucking, nothing, industrial or chemical or oil and gas sites. So I think you could have a law where no 18-wheelers within the Louisiana city limits of the, 7 municipalities, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, Ellick, Monroe, Shreveport, 6. No 18-wheelers in the left lane. Now, here's the deal. You have people that it's sad. I mean, I don't want to waste a nickel, a penny, a second of my time on this. But you have people that drive in the left lane and know they're not supposed to, and they just like blocking people. They're belligerent. They want, this guy's speeding. He's flying up my rear end. Jay Luno talked about this because he's from Alexandria, so he's on the interstates a lot. He's like, it's a moving roadblock. If someone's in the left lane, people end up passing them in the right lane. It's dangerous. People sometimes get so fed up they do the crazy illegal thing and pass on the shoulder. That's nuts. No, that's what can happen. There's road rage, I guess, repercussions from folks driving in the left lane, not passing aggressively, rolling roadblock type of mentality. No, got to do better. And Jay even said this, out-of-town drivers, out-of-state drivers, they tend to pass and get over to the right because in their state that the law is emphasized. It is ticketed for people that drive in the left lane, and people obey the law, and people aren't selfish and belligerent. My God, I pass, I get over to the right. If I'm in the left lane passing, I look in the rearview mirror, someone's barreling up my ass, I get over to the right. They're gone in a second. Problem over with. I don't sit in the left lane. Yeah, I'm doing the speed limit. I'm going to keep this guy, show him what the law is all about. I don't want to do that. Idiot might ram into me, might pull out a gun and start shooting at me. Well, I'm not a policeman. I'm not going to try to tell them what the law is. People are crazy. Blocking the left lane, belligerent drivers. I get out of people's way, man. Look in my rearview mirror, someone barreling up my rear end. I get over to the right. Now, I like Jay Luno's law. It doesn't need the speed component, potential law, the legislation, Senate Bill 11. Doesn't need the speed limit component, and add a caveat, no 18-wheelers in the left lane of the interstate in the metropolitan areas of the state, especially New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Especially New Orleans and Jefferson Parish, no 18-wheelers in the left lane. I would even say this. I'm not kidding either. No taxis in the left lane going to and from the airport, from downtown New Orleans to the airport. Taxis are not allowed in the left lane of the interstate. No taxis in the left lane of the interstate. Sorry, taxi drivers that are legit, and I'm sure it might even be the majority of you. But the percentage of taxi drivers that drive like crap is such, I don't care about a taxi driver. I'm not letting them in. I'm going to cut right in front of them. I do not care about taxi cab drivers, generally speaking, especially on the interstate, going to and from the airport that drive in that left lane in their minivan and aren't passing, just driving in the left lane the whole way. I'm lazy. I don't want to think. I don't have to drive. I don't have to look and cut over and cut back over and change lanes. I'm just going to stay in the left lane because I'm going all the way to Louis Armstrong. No, I would add from the CBD of New Orleans to Louis Armstrong and back, no taxi cabs in the left lane of the interstate. Sorry, you legitimate taxi cab drivers, probably the majority. No, there's too many losers in your industry that ruin it for you, I used to like having a mixed drink going, from one place to another early in the night. Went to like one bar, grabbed a beer, had 2 sips out of it. Hey, let's go somewhere else. Drive to the next bar with the beer in between my legs. Get out of the car and go in the next bar with the beer, or drink it and throw it in the garbage can. But DWI people that got drunk and drove and ran over people at a bus stop, they wrecked that for all of us. So you can't drive with your first drink between your legs for 15 minutes. It just doesn't work too much anymore. A Monday afternoon edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Hey, Latram's with you. East Bank, West Bank, their Elmwood facilities hiring. North Shore folks, their I-12 facilities hiring. A true culture of innovation. Inventors of the shrimp peeling machine. Still the industry standard worldwide. Shrimp peeling machine, industry standard, New Orleans company. The all-plastic modular conveyor belt, #1 in the world, a New Orleans company. Intralocks is what they call those belts from Latrim. Anheuser-Busch, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, wherever conveyor belts are needed, food processing plants. It's going to be an Intralock belt from New Orleans' own Latrim. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Want to be part of that juggernaut? LAITRAM, Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Corey Johnson with you on a gorgeous Monday afternoon.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway, across from Oxon, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans. If you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to try to hook up with Brett Martell. And about 12,000 folks right behind him and in front of him and around him. We'll go live to the Pete Maravich Assembly Center where LSU, the Lady Tigers, taking on Florida State. LSU 29-5. Kim Mulkey, man, she earns her $3+ million a year, huh? She makes about 3 times what Jay Johnson makes as the national champion baseball coach. Isn't that amazing? A lot of some LSU fans are quirky and weird. I don't know if they know where Lockett Hall is, Coates Hall, or Middleton Library. You know, Thomas Boyd, is that where you paid for your tuition? Wouldn't know any of this stuff. Maybe never have stepped foot on the campus except Tiger Stadium. But it's this weird thing. I don't get it. Like, so desperately want the men's baseball team to be the number 2 sport to football. Football's number 1. It'll never be anything but number 1. It's the monster. It's one of the best programs in America. It's the money generator. Men's basketball is the only other sport that LSU has that generates money, that makes a profit. Jay Johnson's national championship baseball team, they lost money that year. Kim Mulkey's national championship women's team, they lost money that year. The men's basketball team with half full PMAC at best, 5,000-6,000 showing up, losing record. 16 SEC teams, 14 went to the big dance this year, the most ever, 14 of 16. Only South Carolina and LSU did not go. And LSU's men's basketball team makes a profit. Baseball never does, probably never will. I mean, they might have some fluke year where they break even or make a few $100,000, but they don't make any kind of substantial profit ever. And they always lose money year in, year out, 95% of the time plus. So you don't want LSU's men's baseball team to be the number 2 sport. You really want them to be around 4th. Football 1, men's basketball already is 2, and Kim Mulkey's basketball team 3. And then the baseball team. I love LSU sports. I love track and field, golf, whatever. I want them winning national titles. But the way sports work in America and how it works at LSU, football's 98% of the income. Men's basketball might be 1 or 2%, 3%, 4%. And then everything else is a loser. Everything else is a loser. So financially, the number 2 sport at LSU is men's basketball. The number 3 sport financially probably is women's basketball. A close battle with men's baseball. Now, I don't understand that mentality. It's just weird. I don't make the rules. I love LSU baseball. It's not the second sport to football, though. Kim Mulkey outdraws over a season LSU baseball, especially on average. It's close, but Kim Mulkey draws better. Hell, LSU women's gymnastics on average might draw better than LSU baseball. LSU women's gymnastics, they're a national champion too. Wow. Young's Dry Cleaning, they're a national champion. By golly, they've got the letter jacket to prove it. Well, they've got the 85 years of experience, a New Orleans institution since 1940, and they just happen to be the best. Want to experience them? YoungsDryCleaning.com. That's all you need to know. YoungsDryCleaning.com. Get rid of that dry cleaner that's a pain, that's a hassle in your life. Well, why deal with that? YoungsDryCleaning.com. Simply better. David Vitter apparently hired by the Plaquemine Container Port people. They come up with this half-cocked, half-cooked idea. No rail link, no roads, no infrastructure outside the, flood wall, flood protection system. All of a sudden, this Plaquemine Container Port. They've been talking about a Plaquemine Container Port for as long as I've been doing radio, 20, 30 years. This citrus land owned by the French bank, blah, 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 blah. I've been hearing this my whole life. So now you get the Port of New Orleans. They buy this land in Violet, 1,100 acres on the river. They announced the international terminal. They've got two stevedoring companies, about $800 million of private money ready to go, committed. They got another 300 to 400 million in a federal grant ready to go. So they're at 1.1, 1.2 billion of the nearly 2 billion, 1.8, 1.9 billion needed to build this thing. They're 2/3 of the way home. Plaquemine Parish, yeah, in the same state as Louisiana, in the same state as the Port of New Orleans, comes up with their own container. I'll say this very lightly. Plan. Now they've named it because someone in Plaquemine's like, dude, we got to name it. We can't just call it it's got to have a name. Can't just say the container terminal in Plaquemine anymore. So like the Port of New Orleans Violet terminal is called the International Terminal. Plaquemine's container port is now known as the Louisiana Gateway Port. And they've hired David Vitter to lobby to get this port going. What Jeff Landry needs to do, governor, state of Louisiana, right now, this day, hey, Plaquemine, we're not endorsing your port. The state of Louisiana is 110% behind the international terminal that the Port of New Orleans is proposing, where they already got most of the money lined up for Violet in St. Bernard Parish. We're 110% behind that, and we do not want to hear any more about this Plaquemine container port. That's what Jeff Landry should say. Endorse the Port of New Orleans and Violet. Endorse it already. Now the Plaquemine container port has a name for their port, when it's just a pipe dream, and now they've hired David Vitter to lobby for it. I mean, the bureaucracy and red tape that the Port of New Orleans is having to jump through to build in St. Bernard, how do you think they're going to do something outside the levee protection system with no rail or road links, significant road links to this? It's a joke. And it's Plaquemine hurting Louisiana. Houston and Gulfport and Mobile, Savannah, they love this. Infighting amongst ourselves, cutting off our nose to spite our face, they love it. I don't know how we do this in Louisiana. Crazy. More school zones in Orleans Parish to be reactivated, but there's a positive here. New Orleans had these universal school zones. In the morning, 2 hours, 7 to 9 a.m. In the afternoon, 2:45 to 4:45, another 2 hours. I mean, hell, out of 10, 11, 12 hours of commerce during the day, 40%, up to 40% of that time could be a bunch of school zones in the city when no students or teachers are around. Some charter school that starts class at 7:30, the doors are shut, everybody's in at 7:30, yet the school zone goes for another hour and a half. Why? Because New Orleans is lazy and dopey, and worse, they're whores. They want to take advantage of that 2-hour window to nail people with the traffic cameras. Afternoon, 2:45 to 4:45. Big 2-hour window. Thank goodness someone with the state, a senator, a House rep, came up with legislation. It passed. You get an hour before the school bell rings in the morning. You get an hour after it rings in the afternoon. No before, no after. No 2-hour window. An hour before it rings in the morning, an hour after it rings in the afternoon. With New Orleans charter schools only one school run by the Orleans Parish Public School System. It's a bunch of start and stop times that are all different throughout the city. So every school zone needs to be customized, and now it's going to be an hour before that school day starts and an hour after, and that's it. And when the lights are blinking, the cameras will be activated too, so stay at, 20, 21 or less. 22 tops. And you folks out there going, God, Corey's talking about speeding. All speedometers are different. 22 is not speeding in a 20-mile-an-hour zone, for crying out loud. 22 is like walking, practically. And we don't have a problem with kids getting killed in school zones. And I'm not for folks speeding in school zones. But some of you jokers driving like 13, 17 in a school zone, it's a joke. You never can be too careful and be too slow. You might as well get out the car and park it and walk. I don't know. Geesh, that'd be much more careful. Not practical. Like 13 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour school zone is not practical. Today at the White House, Governor Jeff Landry with President Trump announcing that $5.8 billion Hyundai steel plant we've been talking about the last month. It's official. $6 billion Hyundai steel plant. It's going to supply Hyundai in North America, their Kia and Hyundai plant, Alabama and Georgia, I think, respectively. And then it's going to supply other North American plants, Ford, GM, other foreign plants that have plants here in America. $6 billion steel plant up in Ascension Parish, about 40 miles upriver. Yeah, you're right. That's a big one. $95,000 a year salary, 1,400 to 1,500 direct jobs, another 4,000 plus indirect. Yeah, you're right. Jeff Landry making it work. Chinese crawfish sold at the Louisiana Crawfish Festival down in St. Bernard. That's just sinful. That's almost like worthy of a little jail time, I swear. The law is, and restaurants need to step up, like Lebanon's Cafe with Gulf shrimp served here. Got to identify where the seafood comes from. And if you're selling it at a, retail outlet, you have to identify the state or country that it comes from if it's outside of Louisiana. That's the law. We need to really step up on this, accelerate this, save the shrimpers, the oystermen, the fishing industry in Louisiana, best seafood in the world.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian. Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Yeah, you're right. Trying to hook up with Brett Martell at the PMAC. You know, there's talk in Baton Rouge of like a, what is it, $400 million arena privately built. A private equity group will come in and build this arena. It'll be on LSU's campus. That's what the equity groups gets out of it. They could come build an arena in Baton Rouge. Then they have to compete. Or they could build an arena on LSU's campus. LSU gets to host all their basketball, gymnastics, everything in the state-of-the-art facility. And then that group gets to put on concerts and the like and keep the profits from the building. That's how they're going to make money. But they want it branded as LSU's arena to boost its image, to right away put the building on the map. Otherwise, it's just another new arena in Baton Rouge that has to compete against the Centraplex, whatever, the River Center, the PMAC. It's going to be better and more modern, and it's going to be able to bring in things that those places can't, but those places will still have some things. So that's a kind of a pseudo win-win for everybody involved. LSU gets a state-of-the-art arena that they never, ever could build before. $400 million. And this private equity firm gets to be in the Baton Rouge market and market that arena however they see fit for concerts, events, and the like, and make their money that way. When I can't get in touch with Brett Martell at the PMAC and vice versa, he can't get in touch with me. I mean, they got like basic Wi-Fi problems at the PMAC. Much less, not having the structure, the ceiling especially, that can hold the heavy equipment that these modern concerts require. That's why Baton Rouge loses a lot of concerts. The Centraplex, the PMAC, you need a building where you can hang speakers and, scaffolding and all kind of, things, staging, pyrotechnic launch sites, all kind of stuff from the ceiling of the facility. And that's the main problem with the PMAC and the Centraplex, not designed for that. And apparently not designed for Wi-Fi, for cellular, when they're packed. I'm guessing there's about 12,000 or so at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center for Kim Mulkey's Lady Tigers. 29-5, taking on Florida State. They're 24-8. Boy, we covered a lot today. Jay Luno, state senator from Alexandria, joined us. Senate Bill 11, we'll keep up on that. Basically trying to keep drivers out of the left lane of the interstate, because the left lane isn't for driving. It's strictly for passing. And then you get back over to the middle lane or the right. Pass in the left lane, get over to the right. Pass in the left lane, get over to the right. No driving allowed in the left lane. I know you folks right now in New Orleans East driving in the left lane listening are like, I just don't believe it. Oh, let me look in the rearview mirror. Wow, there's a mile of cars behind me. And I'm passing these folks in the middle and right lane by about 1 mile an hour. Why don't you accelerate and get over to the right and let all those other people pass that you're holding back? Same thing right now. The twin span from Kenner to Laplace, Causeway Bridge. It is illegal to drive in the left lane, just like it's illegal to drive with hazard lights on. Corey, you don't know how bad that rain was coming down. I had to put the hazards on. When you feel compelled to break the law by putting on your hazard lights while the vehicle's moving, that means you need to get off the road, that you can't handle the conditions, that the rain, the visibility is so low to you that you feel compelled to turn on your hazards. Get off the road, exit and get off until the rain dies down. That's the solution. Not feeling compelled to break the law and ride with your hazard lights on. Holy smokes, is that Brett Martell?
Hey, I had to walk out of the stadium.
Hi, Brett. How are you, man? I'm literally holding my cellular device up to the microphone.
Okay.
No, but we got you loud and clear, man. Thanks so much for joining. You had to walk outside of the PMAC?
Yeah, I think there's so much interference in there. I mean, it's a pretty good crowd, and there's a lot of media in there, and there's no phone signal inside the stadium right now.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you walked outside. I don't want to keep you, Brett. I know you actually have work to do. What's going on with Mulkey and the Lady Tigers versus Florida State so far? I'm guessing, about 12, 13 minutes into the first half?
No, it's halftime now.
Wow.
But it's a dogfight. The over/under for this game, they both teams scored about 100 points in the first round. Florida State scored 94, LSU scored 103 in the first round, and the over/under is around 170. But by halftime, they had already scored almost 100. So it's a really, really tight game. It's a dogfight. Tanaya Latson, who's the leading scorer in the country and the star player for Florida State 00, is already over 20 points. I previewed this game with this really compelling matchup between Latson and Flau'jae Johnson. But Johnson's only played 7 minutes. It seems like her right shin is bothering her again. It's the same injury that sidelined her during the SEC tournament. And she's still on the bench, but I don't know if she's going to play again. So LSU's going to have to figure out how to win this one without her, and it's really tight right now.
What's the score, Brett?
Well, I just walked into the stadium, so I can't see. But I think I think LSU's up by about 1 or 2 points.
At halftime.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get the official score for everybody. Where can folks check out your stuff, Brett?
Yeah, the AP News app is free on a smartphone and gives you news from all over the world, not just sports. Highly recommended, or apnews.com on a laptop.
How many fans you expecting, or how many fans do you guesstimate are in the PMAC right now? Somewhere 10 to 12,000, I'm going to guess?
Yeah, at least 10,000. It's really loud in there.
Nice.
And also posting on X, which used to be Twitter.
X Live while the game's going on. Perfect. At Brett Martell. Brett, a pleasure. Thanks so much for the call from the PMAC.
Thank you. Corey, you got it.
Yep, that's Brett Martell joining us live from the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, walking outside to get the job done. Yeah, you're right, Brett. All right, before we slip out of here, let me see if I can get us a quick updated score. I might be talking
on the neutral ground for Corey Johnson on TV.
Wow,
on Cox
Brett
Channel
was right.
4
1
and
point.
Spectrum Channel
LSU
333.
50, Florida
Also on
State
YouTube,
49.
on radio at Nola Talk
50 to
93.9
49 at the
FM,
half.
WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.